In this video, we are flipping a $300 Honda Civic into something worth multiple times more. So here is the Civic, and I gotta be fully honest, fully transparent with you. I clickbaited you just a little bit with the title, with that first opening line. We are actually not flipping this, but rather helping a friend sell it. So this car belongs to one of my longtime friends. We grew up, went to the same church together. We shared classes in high school and stuff. And we've just known each other for a long time. And this is his Civic. Now, late last fall, early winter, he got into a wreck, unfortunately, and absolutely cranked a deer. Now, this stinks because this was his car. It was really nice, but because he had minimum coverage on his insurance, and I mean, it's just a Civic, it's not worth a ton. He didn't claim it, and he was like, I'm just gonna deal with it. So he ended up getting a Honda Fit and was left with this. And he said he was gonna take it to the scrapyard for $300, as that's what they were gonna give him for it. But I said, no, wait, hold up. Is it okay? Does it drive well? Is everything intact? And he said everything driving wise is great. Mechanically, it's top tier. It has new tires, as a matter of fact, and a lower mileage engine that was put in. So mechanically, it's solid, it's stout, but it needs a new windshield. It needs a new hood. It needed a new headlight. This has already been replaced, and it needed a new fender as well, which has already been replaced, and a new front bumper. So it needs a lot of work. I don't know that it's worth putting the money into, and especially taking it to a shop, it wouldn't be worth dumping all of the shop money into, even just parts cost alone, even though Civics are cheap. Getting a hood, a headlight, the bumper, the fender, new windshield, getting it all to properly fit and look good. I don't know that it's worth it. So that's why he was gonna scrap. But I said, you know what, give me the car. I will do some DIY stuff to it, get it to a minimum viable product, and sell it for hopefully more than $300 plus whatever the cost of the parts are for this thing, and then we can just split whatever we get more from it. Now, the biggest reason that I wanted to do this was, number one, to keep this thing on the road, because fundamentally it's a really good car. Civics run and last forever. This thing is so mechanically stout and solid. Heck, I'll even show you, tell you the rest of the story. So you can see it's kind of poopy, leaving it unlocked because no one's gonna hop in and steal this thing, but the interior's clean. None of the airbags went off hitting the deer, and we'll give her a start. Battery's good, everything's solid. And the only light we have on the dash is the check engine light. Now I'm gonna go hit the main road. We're gonna take this thing up to speed, and I'll kill the fan. Like, all of the controls work, everything's fine. You can see it runs, it accelerates well, everything's fine. I gotta get my seatbelt on. Mechanically, it's not pulling to the left or right. The road is a pretty bad country road, so it's not perfect, but you can floor it, it'll downshift, it'll get some speed, it'll do highway speeds, no problem. I'll yab on the brakes, and we're stopping just fine. The windows still work, so nothing to complain about there. We can turn on the heat and the AC, and that works. I think we need to put in the code for this because it was sitting for a little while, so the battery went dead. But I mean, all in all, this is a good riding car, and I want to drive it long enough just to show you that it doesn't even overheat. Despite the front end damage that was up there, it didn't even puncture the radiator, and it doesn't run hot. It just gets to temp and stays right there. So with all that being said, this is still a good running, driving car, and it's so solid, it's so stout that like I can look at you while I'm driving with my knee. So with that being said, I want to keep this thing on the road as long as I can and give it as long of a life as I can, because it's a good, reliable, kind of sound vehicle for someone, especially someone on a budget that needs just the cheapest thing that they can get. They don't have much money to spend. They don't care how it looks. It just needs to be mechanically reliable. Well, this is it. This could be it. So I said, we'll keep it out of the junkyard. We'll keep it out of the scrapyard. Passing some guy on a mower right now. Anyway, let's fix it up, get it to a minimum viable product, and you can make some more money off of it, and I can make some more money off of it, which is the name of the automotive money game. So I took on the project. I bought a fender, I bought a headlight, and together those were $100. Both were, I think, $45. After tax, it was $50. And then shipped, it was $100 altogether to my door. I used some silver spray paint that wasn't a perfect match to get the fender looking decent, not great. Just bolted that on, and then had a bumper that was a little bit rough, just laying around, that I had, that I donated to the cause, I guess. And that was no cost. So we have $300 in the car as principal. That's what he would have sold it for otherwise, to the scrapyard, and then $100 in parts for the new headlight and for the new fender to get this thing roadworthy again. And looking a little bit better. And one other thing that I didn't mention was these are some brand new tires. These are some brand new tires. He spent multiple hundreds of dollars on buying these and even reselling them. I think you could get a few hundred, so there's a lot of value in this car. If you were to take out the good running engine, if you were to pull the good shifting trans, if you were to take the tires off and the wheels off, yeah, the hubcaps look kind of bad. This one's cracked. But overall, I mean, it's too solid of a vehicle just to go to waste. So what we ended up doing was throwing on a fender, just blasting it with a silver color to make it look similar. And then this headlight was completely cracked and dysfunctional, so I bought a new one. You can see that one looks beautiful. This one looks, dated. Now, the reason that I didn't replace the hood was there were none at the nearby junkyard, and shipping a hood of this weight would cost a lot. So the hoods were really, really pricey. This one still latches down. You saw I was going highway speeds, and it didn't fling up. And then the windshield wasn't worth doing. There's a center crack, which stinks, but a new windshield would be probably $200 to $300, which pouring into this thing, I just don't think it's worth it, especially with the amount of time and effort and energy that I wanted to put into this thing. Minimum viable product. Let's just get this thing back to where it can safely be on the road, operational with the new headlight, and then not having exposed wiring with the fender here, and call it a day. If someone buys it and wants to fix it up, polish that headlight, put on the front bumper, make all the panels line up, get a new hood, get the windshield, try to do some paint work on the body, really clean it up and detail it, they can. But for someone who doesn't care, who just needs a reliable little daily, well, this is the best way to buy. So we can head into the office, hop on the computer, get on Facebook Marketplace, the exact numbers behind this. So it says posted May 1st. It is May 2nd today at 1:30. So here we can see the listing. I did not take the time to wash it or take the best photos. I put the front bumper up to it just so that it looked like a more complete car, and it showed off the fact that I did in fact have the front bumper for it, but I wasn't trying to make this thing look any prettier than it was, and so that everyone knew exactly what they were getting when they looked at this thing. So I didn't vacuum it, didn't detail it because it's not merited, but I did show off that it has a good interior, front and back. Here's the engine. Everything's clear and clean, no leaks, no like crazy bends, and fundamentally it's okay. And I'm trying to show that off. I took a picture of the dash. It's got 218,000 miles. Took a picture of the tires to highlight the fact that it's solid. And then I wrote in the ad, it runs and drives amazingly. That's what I wanted to open with so that people didn't think, oh, it's just a junk car. Hit a deer, so cannot say the same about the looks. It starts right up, the engine runs healthfully, the transmission ships smoothly, the brakes are good, it drives straight down the road, does 60 plus comfortably, even still. New tires around 3,000 miles. Please keep your abhorrently low offers to yourself. Because of how well it drove after the wreck, we decided to put on a new fender and headlight and bumper rather than just taking it to the scrapyard. It is just too mechanically solid to end up junked. Title in hand, Silver Lake, Indiana. I think it's priced well. If you look up a similar 2005 Honda Civic and do a little comp search, you're going to come up with a lot more expensive vehicles. So we see mine, we see one with similar mileage, rebuilt title, but it's solid, and it's $1,850. It was just posted a day ago. This one needs motor mount, it looks like, and it's cosmetically beat up as well. It's $1,000, listed 17 minutes ago. This one runs and drives well. He has original tires. It looks like it has an aftermarket set of headers. $2,650 with 100,000 miles. This one has 122,000 miles, reliable vehicle, blah, 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 blah. You can see comps are way higher unless they have critical issues with a bad engine, bad trans, or just look cosmetically horrible, as is the case with this one. You're going to end up spending about that price. So that's why I put it to $1,000. Originally, I had it listed for $850, but was just blown up with how many messages I got. So I jumped the price up to $980 because it also seemed like everybody wanted to negotiate. And you can see here just some of the messages that I got. Blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people were like, would you take 5? Would you take 6? Would you take 7? Would you take 750? Would you take 8? And I just want someone to show up and take it off my hands. I'm not trying to maximize the amount of profit that I can make on this thing. Sure, I want to get as much money as possible for Rainer and myself, but at the same time, I'm not trying to deal with a whole bunch of junk and games and BS. I just want it sold and to go to a good home for a decent price. So if someone shows up and offers $700 or $800, it's going to be sold. Anyway, I just wanted to hop on, show you that before I end up showing and selling it. As you know, I'm not the best with documenting every second of the journey because I'd rather just get in work mode and focus on that than trying to do the whole video content thing. So as I sell this car, I'll bring you along, and then for the aftermath, when I give the money to Rainer that he's owed for it, then I will do the same and give you an update on the final selling price. Again, we have $400 in the thing, so anything above that is going to be profit in a way compared to what it would have scrapped for otherwise. And the only investment into it was just the headlight and the fender. So good deal overall, and I will see you when the car sells. Well, there she goes. That's it, baby. So hopefully you saw in that tiny little snippet, the Civic ended up selling within a day, really quick, shortly after, and it went for $800, which is pretty good. Definitely better than $300, and ultimately there was $400 in it. So through just like an hour of work, we were able to essentially double the value of the car from $400 to $800, which is good. If you were to buy this car off of someone, the whole profit would be yours. How it ended up turning out for me financially was I gave $600 to Rainer, who was the owner of the car, and then took $100 to cover the parts cost, and then $100 to cover the hour of work plus selling it for him. Again, he's a friend, so I definitely cut him a deal. I wouldn't charge a marketing client that little, but as is the case with this, ultimately I just wanted to get the thing back on the road and not meeting a crusher or certain demise. So I think that pretty much wraps up the video. If you like the video, give it a like, drop a comment down below. Check out automotivemoney.com if you're interested in learning how to make money with your passion for vehicles, or if you need to make some money, start a side hustle, start a business, and check out automotivemoney.com. Sub to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with future content. With that in mind, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.